Back at Go West 23 in Edmonton at the Convention Centre, I'm Bryn Griffiths. Ashleigh Morriss joins us from British Columbia. How are you?
I'm good.
Tell everybody where you're from.
Yes, so I personally live in Langley, BC, but I work at Peace Arch Hospital Foundation in White Rock, BC, right on the water. Beautiful venue there. And I do all the events for Peace Arch Hospital Foundation, so mainly donor stewardship events, but also our largest event for the year is our annual gala held every May, first Saturday in every May, and that's about 500 guests.
Wow.
And that's our largest fundraiser.
How long have you been doing this?
This, in the fall, it'll be 10 years, and 10 years with Peace Arch Hospital Foundation.
Wow.
Yeah, I came fresh out of university, not in an events role. I was working donor relations in a coordinator role on a contract, and apparently some way along that 3-month contract, I impressed someone enough to hire me on full-time. And
well, that's excellent stuff. Did you ever imagine this is what you'd be doing?
No.
And that's what everybody here says. They said, I just kind of found my way into it, and then all of a sudden it was magic.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially nonprofit and events, a lot of people just stumble into it. Or
Right.
It's all about relationships. And you make a relationship, and they see a spark in you, and they're like, yeah, they can teach you the other stuff. But there's a special little spark in events people where we really find a way no matter what.
Yeah.
To make things work, and that's what you need for events.
Well, let's talk about making things work at a tough time. We've gone through a real difficult 2 to 3 years here.
Wow.
How much of a struggle was it for you?
Yeah, well, it was actually a little bit different for me because I was also on a maternity leave.
Okay.
So I had also a COVID baby during that time, which was a whole different experience because I had a baby prior to that, and it was way different in the hospital. But I have not been in the office full time during those COVID times. So our office, being in a hospital, our office is located within the main lobby of the hospital. So we actually had to not be in our office for a large part of that.
Right.
Work from home, super flexible our hospital foundation was. The whole team remained on. And for myself, for the portion that I wasn't on maternity leave, I had to totally pivot because obviously we weren't doing in-person events. So I worked a lot with outside sources that wanted to give back to the hospital, donate either food or work in creating, when we were going through that surge of hand sanitizer,
right.
Work with some breweries in the local community that started creating hand sanitizer for us, and just a lot of unique opportunities like that. And then I went on a maternity leave, but since then it's brought back some more flexibility. So now we're not in the office full time. We're in office 3 days a week, and then we get to work from home 2 days a week. So that's a nice little highlight.
The whole
COVID.
thing make you stronger moving forward now?
I think so. I mean, I do think that unfortunately the event industry lost a lot of really good people.
Yeah.
People they had to pivot and they had to find work elsewhere because there wasn't work in the event industry, and unfortunately they had no choice. And a lot of those people haven't come back. So we're seeing a lot of staffing issues at our events and vendor issues, and there's not enough people to work events anymore. And then there's only one of us or so many of us that can do the events. So we're feeling a bit run down as well. But it's good to be back and really good to be in person again. And I do like that we went really virtual, so we've brought on that aspect to our events of being hybrid. It's nice for the people that they don't feel like they can attend every event, but in a way they can because they can come on virtually.
Tell us about this event. What do you take out of a thing like this? Because the difference in there's non-profit, there's wedding planning, it's really quite varied, right?
Yeah.
So what do you take out of it? You're looking for those little nuggets?
Yeah, I'm just looking at inspiration from everything. So from the lounges that we sit in, the food we eat, all the senses. For our gala, it's really important to me to take our guests on a complete journey
Right.
from the moment that they step foot outside their vehicle through our compelling case for support, and then when they go home. And I want them to not just forget about the event once they go home. I want them to remember it and that journey we took them on. And we brought them from it's their philanthropic duty to give because it's their local hospital.
Right.
And now they're philanthropically satisfied because of that journey. So I take tidbits from everything. But I've found something from every speaker so far, which is awesome. And it's really great just to make the connections and the relationships.
You surprised by a few things where this is how I felt, and some of the sessions I've gone into where I think I have got a pretty good handle on it, and then something just, wow, I can't believe, why did I not recognize that before? Do you find that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely can't judge a book by its cover at all.
Right.
You have to, if you could sit through every session, you'll learn something from everything. I actually had a couple sessions during my breakout session yesterday that I would have loved to see. So I think it's a lot to sit there and obviously see everything, but it's so, like, you get such good information from everyone.
You've attended one before, though, right?
I have, yeah. 2020, like just before COVID hit.
Big difference for you? Because everybody says they see there's one common thread: energy.
Yes.
There's no lack of that here.
Yeah, we're all happy to be back, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you see anything else that's different? Now, you talked about it's tougher for staffing, right?
Yeah, staffing.
So there's that challenge, but the one thing that's very common here is that everybody found a way.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what? When I spoke in 2020, I was one of the only fundraising topics, and it was really well attended. And at the time, we were kind of ahead of the game in setting ourselves apart and going out of the box. And I think coming from COVID, because there is such a need for all these in-person events again, everyone's doing that. So everyone is on that same post of having to be different.
Right.
So again, it's really inspiring to me to see how people are coming back from COVID and using all the different outlets to be different and creative. So yeah, that's another thing I noticed.
So you're going to go away from here. You're going to take your stuff back. It's got to make you excited about the year ahead. Right?
It does. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I mean, really good to make those relationships with people that are back in BC that we're just so head down working on our own events that we don't venture into these other events that other people are doing, and it's really cool to hear and riff off each other and give each other ideas. I mean, we're all a family. We're all in the same community. We don't, just because we're competing hospital foundations or anything like that, we can give each other ideas, and what works for me might not work for you, but it's inspiring.
Tell me if you found this, because I certainly have. There does not seem to be a hesitation for people to tell you that they've made a mistake, and that maybe you can learn, don't do this, or it's one thing to tell people this works great, but I think learning from mistakes of other people is huge too.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I know that year of our gala just before COVID happened,
right,
was our best year yet, and we really nailed it. We were on a good thing, and we had everything planned for the next year, and our gala happening in May, and COVID really hitting and halting everything in March. We postponed for 2 years, and I found that it like a lot of mistakes were made through vendors, through staffing, through our own team that was rusty coming back after 2 years of putting the event off. Mistakes are happening all the time. Our job is to make sure that other people don't see the mistakes. Unfortunately, at our gala that we came back from, there was some mistakes that were seen by the guests, but it's making that your guests feeling like that's not the last impression of the event. So, for example, with a staffing issue, we made sure that a few weeks past our event, we dealt with that for the guest, and we created a really good experience a few weeks out that made up for it. And it was on our side that people were just so happy to be together again that they forgave it.
And in your area, it's still competitive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're competing with other hospitals and health centers, that kind of thing. So you got to kind of outshine. You got to make people recognize that you're out there. Is that a big challenge for you?
So years ago it used to be. We brought on the idea of a theme quite a few, probably 2016. Before that, it wasn't too much of a theme. It was a different color kind of look. Right. But then we really brought on a theme, and we really we became immersed in that theme. So everything that we planned had to do with that theme and that journey, and bringing the guests on that journey, and also providing the experience that you don't expect when you think of that theme. Yeah. So that when they walk in the room every year, and our hospital gala is actually the only venue in White Rock that can hold 500 people, is an ice hockey arena. So we take the ice out.
How very Canada.
Yeah. So we take the ice out, and it's a concrete floor, and put up a full pipe and drape, and it is different every time you walk into that ballroom. That's an ice hockey arena.
Yes.
But
you made it feel like a ballroom.
Yes, and I thrive off that blank slate, not a hotel ballroom or something that already looks beautiful and you kind of have to work with that. I really love that it's blank slate every year, and really setting yourself apart and fully immersing your guests with activations, and then getting those activations sponsored with the right sponsors and the right community businesses.
Before we go, how do people get a hold of you? Because the one thing that we're finding here is everybody likes to talk to somebody. Maybe it's a little different area, but the sharing of content and information is great. So how can people track you?
Of course. So I'm happy to chat with anyone about sponsorship, images and videos from our events, things like that. You can find me on LinkedIn, Ashleigh Morriss, also Peace Arch Hospital Foundation, on our website. I'm on Instagram, Ashleigh Nicole Morriss. But that's mainly images about my life and my family. But it's kind of fun.
We have that too. That's another thing that's got to be planned.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, thanks for your time today.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest. We still have an afternoon to go. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.